Hello everyone, welcome back to Classic Automotive Services. Right, this week, obviously with the stag that was sat here, that's gone. Well, we're not going to go too much detail about it, but it was a French blue stag, I'll say that. The owner has turned right funny and nasty. And that's purely due to the fact, well, he hasn't got the money to do it. And the reason being that once we were going through all the cooling system on it, and I've got a couple of photographs of the cooling system and how badly blocked it was, which we'll put in. So we got the cooling system cleaned out and flushed out as much as we could, and reassembled it. But the car wasn't having it. It got hot very quickly, within literally 3 to 4 minutes, and it was also inflating all the coolant hoses. So they were rock hard and mixing oil and water. So whether it got a crack somewhere in the block or the heads or the head gaskets had gone, don't know. When a car's been off the road that long and it hadn't got any coolant, very little coolant in it for many, many years, it's a good possibility it had frozen at some point, caused damage. It could have been all manner of things wrong with it. So the engine needed to be minimum heads off and thoroughly start checking everything. But that's what it needed. So if you do see any French blue stags for sale around the Essex area, then you'll know that to look out for. If it's getting hot, it could be that one. But moving on, we've got the Dolomite Sprint engine. We've been cracking on with that. So we'll do a bit on the Dolomite Sprint engine and go through what we're doing on this, and then we'll go on to the TR7 behind us and what we've got to do with this one. So we'll uncover the engine. So here we are. We've got most of the bottom end assembled now, as far as I'm going to assemble it until we've got the head on and all the timing gears assembled, as then you can put the timing cover on, sump and top on, as it's much easier to put the timing cover on without the sump, as the sump gasket seals the bottom of the timing cover. So that's the way we do it, and it helps prevent any leaks, as if you do it as in sump and then timing cover, you can very easily nick the gasket, wrinkle it, damage it when you're putting the timing cover on, as the timing cover's on dowels, so you've got no movement to get it on. So we've got all the bottom ends assembled. We've rebuilt all the water pump. It's got a 12 vane pump in it, as it's a late car. So we've fully stripped that, rebuilt it, new bearings, new seals, and checked it all. It's all good. If anyone doesn't know, when you do the water pumps on these, this top housing has to be shimmed to the actual pump to make sure you've got the correct clearance for your impeller and the underneath of the housing. If you don't have the correct clearance, it won't flow the water correctly. Or worst case scenario, the pump can actually, if it's too tight, the pump can move up and down a little bit if it's not set up properly, and actually hit the cap. It can hit the cap, lock up. If it locks that up, it can then very easily snap your timing chains and do lots and lots of damage. So it's very critical that you get that set up. So we've then rebuilt all the oil pump as well. So we've got the original Holbein oil pump, which we've stripped, thoroughly checked all the clearances and reassembled. It's a good job we did check it all, as the actual pump itself was okay, but the pressure relief valve spring was actually around 1.5 mil too short, which is going to lower the oil pressure. So the oil pressure relief valve is going to be opening far too soon and lower the oil pressure. So we've replaced the oil pressure relief valve spring, cleaned up all the fuel pump, cleaned all the filter out, and sorted that out. New oil filter, and painted the oil filter in the correct blue. We've also got all the crankshaft back in it, and pistons and rods. We've got the issue with the clearance on the crank main bearings sorted out. If anyone doesn't remember, we had a case of the crankshaft being machined on top limit, so the journal was as big as possible, and it was a standard crank, had never been machined before, but it was machined onto top limit. The bearings that we got, they were also on top limit, so they were, you're talking of like half a thou, which is causing this. So that combined made the running clearance between the crank and the bearing too tight. So I got hold of another set of bearings and we've fitted them and checked the clearance, and it's exactly where we want it, 1.5 thou per inch journal size. So spot on. So it was just a case of the bearing. We've got away with changing the bearings for a different brand of bearing because they do vary in thicknesses by this little amounts. That's all good now. Then we sorted out all the first of all we checked all the thrust on the crankshaft. So with DTI all set up on it, and we've got 4 thou infloat. It's perfect for this. Then we got all the jack shaft in before the water pump, and checked that the gears are in line. If we look around here, you've got crankshaft and jack shaft. So these gears need to run really, really closely in line, if ideally perfectly in line, as that bit of chain there is so small, and you've got the tensioner on it. If they are slightly out of line, you'll get rapid wear on your gears, and you also get rapid wear on your chain, and it'll be very, very notchy. So these gears have to run. It's critical they run in line. The cam gear, not quite so critical because you've got such a long length of chain going to it, but it still does have to be pretty damn close. So we've got the jack shaft in, and with the original thrust plate, which is behind. You can't really see it on this one. You've got fixings behind. You've got a thrust plate in here. And check the infloat on the jack shaft, and we had 8 thou infloat on that, where the crankshaft's got 4, which ideally I like them both to be somewhere about the same. Otherwise, one's going to be moving more, the other stressing the chain. It's not really ideal. So, lucky enough, I've got quite a lot of second-hand thrust plates, all different thicknesses, varying within a few thou of each other, with different amount of wear. I changed it, and we've got it now down to 5 thou, which is ideal, as the crankshaft's on 4. That's going to bed in a little bit, so they're as close as you're going to need them, and they're running in line. So that's absolutely perfect, and that's where we're up to on the engine. So it's the bottom end is pretty much there now. Something I did notice as well as something to look out for is when I was rebuilding the oil pump, a genuine hole beneath an oil pump, it had some quite nasty sharp flashings on the outlets on the pump, which one, they're going to restrict oil, and it's just not nice to be there. So carefully cleaned all them out, so there's no sort of like nothing stopping the oil flowing as best it can be. And the same on the oil pickup where that had been cast. So there's a lot of hours goes into prepping and making an engine right. Anyone can throw an engine together. How long it'll last? Well, who knows? You might be lucky and it goes on for ages. You might be unlucky and it goes bang in the first few hundred miles. But to build an engine properly, it takes a lot of work. So we like to try and build them properly. So yeah, it takes a lot of work. So we've got a lot of parts cleaned up for it as well now, if we have a look. So we've got sump all cleaned out, ready to be refitted and painted. So front timing cover, all cleaned. This was completely thick black grime. So it's all cleaned up. We've taken the pointer off for the timing mark, mine blank. We've taken the timing mark pointer off, cleaned that up and painted that. New oil seal, so that's again ready to fit. We've got all new nuts and bolts. We've got all new bolts and fixings for the timing covers, as most of the engine, as you've seen, has got new bolts on it, which just makes a massive difference when you've got new bolts on it. It looks really, really nice. We've got one of the engine lift knives, that's clean, paint ready to go. Front crankshaft pulley, all cleaned up, painted, ready to go. Obviously, we've masked off where the oil seal runs, so you don't want paint on there. And then the head, we haven't done much more on that yet. All we've done is lap the valves in, so that's still at the same point it was, where it's ready to be have a final clean. After we've done the ports, we're going to do a little tickling work on the ports just to clean them up and take away any flashings in there just to smooth them and help it with a bit more performance. Then that can be final cleaned, reassembled. The cam cover, we've fully refurbished the cam cover, so because that was in quite a state. So we've done it in the wrinkle black and cleaned up the Triumph logo, fitted the correct original sticker on it, refurbished the cap as well. So again, that's all cleaned, looking spectacular, ready to go back on. So we've been pressing on quite a lot with this engine, and it's not far off of being assembled and finished now. So it's not most of the hours goes into cleaning, checking, and protecting everything. Well, not protecting, painting everything, and making sure everything's right. So once you've done all that, it pretty much flies together. So it's very close now. Like I said, the biggest issue we had was the clearance on the main bearings, which that's all sorted. So that's where we're up to on the Dolomite Sprint engine. So we'll move on to this nice little TR7 we've got sat here. And if anyone notices it, it's a very, very late registered car. It's actually on a D registration. So what's a D? Is that 86? Something like that? I'll work it out. This car, it's a very late registered car. It's not actually that year of car. It's an actual 82 car. It was just late registered in the country. So it's had some fancy stripe work put on the sides of it, hence why the front wings are a different colour, which the owner is not really a fan of. I kind of agree with him. He wants it all painted one colour, so it's silver, which we're not doing at this stage. It is a solid little car and it's very, very straight. It's had the front painted at some point, as in the bonnet and the nose, which that's all gone faded and horrible. But the rest of it is actually very nice. What it's in for is it's having the 2-litre 8-valve engine removed. It's then having 2-litre 16-valve, which is sat there, put in, which we'll go on to in a minute, which we've been doing some stuff on. It's also having so I've mentioned the car before. The owner initially didn't want to do all the suspension; he just wanted to do subframe mounts, etc. But he's now changed his mind and he wants all of it doing. So we're doing lowered stiffened springs, SPAX adjustable shock absorbers, uprated brakes, flexi hoses, polybush, odds and ends on the suspension with a combination of rubber because he doesn't want to lose too much comfort in the car. All the brakes are getting upgraded, so it's having new discs on the front, yellow stuff pads in the front, 4-speed TR8 wheel cylinders in the back. Again, flexi hoses on it, stainless steel flexi hoses. So it's already got decent tyres and that on it, so it should handle and have quite a good power increase with that Sprint engine in there. So it's got a full Triumph tuning exhaust system on it, which we got out of the donor car because this engine has already been in a 7. It was in a really rusty, rotten wreck of a TR7. So we had the engine running and we pulled it out, and we've got the full Triumph tuning exhaust system off of it as well. So it's going to be a nice car, and that's next week's job. So we've got to get it all done for when he picks it up on Saturday. And we haven't started the actual car yet because it only arrived on Friday. Well, it arrived Friday evening. So very, very busy week to try and get this done. So which would be nice. I'm looking forward to doing it, and it's going to be nice for the owner to drop off a completely standard TR7 and drive away with basically a full performance package. So you should notice a massive, massive difference in the car. We'll have a look at the car in a minute because it is actually very, very tidy, and that engine's going to quite let the engine bay down. But he doesn't want to spend the money on cleaning and painting all the engine at the moment. He just wants to get it in, get it running, enjoy it for the rest of the year, and then do it when he has the whole car repainted and everything else, which I understand that. So the engine, First of all, we've got to do just a quick degrease on it. I've changed the carburetor mount, which that was fun, as this fixing here had been helicoiled in the past, and as when I undone the bolt, it pulled the helicoil out the manifold. So the manifold was then, well, buggered. So it wouldn't take another helicoil because the helicoil was knackered. So the manifold was knackered where the helicoil was. So I made up a little insert to wind in, which I then drilled and tapped 516 UNC to take the original bolt. So that's that sorted. So the carburetor mounts were completely and utterly buggered. If we look, that one is actually broken and split. And this one has also got plenty of cracking and perishing around it. So we're going to change the thermostat housing for a TR7 one, as it was still running the dolomite one previously, with all this blanked off. So we're going to put a TR7 thermostat housing on it. New fuel pipes. Just give it a bit of a service. I'm going to do the cam cover gasket and plug tube upgrade at the same time. Degrease it, oil and filter, and it's then going in the car. So we've already got a lot of the parts and everything for it, seals and gaskets and things like that we need. So we've already got front shocks and everything else, but I didn't find out until Friday evening that he wanted the rest of it doing at the same time. So yesterday I have ordered all the rest of the stuff for the suspension and that as well, the rear shocks, all the brakes, etc. So if we have a quick look at the little car, so the stripes are actually, this blue is actually, I believe, Moonraker blue. As when it was parked outside next to my SD1, it was actually nearly identical in colour. So I think the car actually looked quite nice in that colour with the blue interior, but it wants to do it silver. Oh, that didn't pop. I'll just pop the bonnet. It is very original, this little car. There we go. So, but some people might be jumping up and down crying that it's going to have a 16 valve put in it because it's how original it is. But it's the owner's car, it's his choice. So here we've got the standard engine, an engine bay, and it is very, very clean and tidy. Someone's really put some time and effort into looking after this and cleaning it up. So everything's still plated nicely, all the hoses are nice, got proper clips and everything on everything. Everything's still nicely plated, as it should be. Even the bonnet catch is nice. So it's very, very tidy little example. So the inside, it's lovely as well. If you want to have a look, it's got the dark blue interior. Is that locked? So it's got as you can see, it's got the dark blue interior. So you can definitely tell it's a very late car from the door handles and the door locks. And it's got the late push button on the boot instead of the twist button. So it's very, very tidy. So it's going to be a nice car with a 16 valve in it. So that's pretty much it. So I think I have to just close the bonnet. So I probably am going to do a little bit on it this afternoon and try and get a head start on the week. So the way we're going to do the engine swap, as we're doing suspension work at the same time, is we're going to lower the engine and the gearbox and all the suspension straight out the bottom of the car. So that should work out very well because we can then just drop the whole assembly out, change the engine over on the subframe, change all the bushes on everything, drop the struts off, do them, put it back in. So hopefully it'll be fairly easy and straightforward, but sometimes they're not. You know what these classic cars can be like. So on that note, I think that's all we have this week. So I'm going to start doing some bits and bobs on this and disconnecting a few things. So please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.